In 2018, around 2018, 2019, I was a bodybuilding coach. I used to prep bodybuilders for competitions. I used to help people build muscle. That's what I did after I retired from bodybuilding. I became a prep coach. But eventually, a program came out on Netflix called Game Changer. That documentary seemed to have sort of gone into a lot of people's heads. And some of my clients are coming up to me and said, Eddie, I want to be plant-based. And I'm like, what? In fact, I started having arguments with some of my clients. I said to them, look, plants don't store their energy as protein. You're not going to get decent, protein from any plant. Protein in plants, it's not biologically available to us. We can't absorb it properly. The protein in plants have a lower bioavailability. But no, it was like, I want to be plant-based. So I decided to try it for myself. For about 1 month, that's about 4 weeks, I changed all my diet completely. I took all the eggs out of my diet. I took all the protein, any animal protein. The chicken came out, the red meat came out, and I decided to go plant-based. So my protein sources were like chickpeas. I was using lentils, all of that, all the protein that we were meant to eat as plant-based. And with that, I noticed a big change in everything that I was doing. You see, I was getting up in the morning completely bloated, and I got up in the morning and my toilet. I go to the toilet and it was like completely watery. I don't ever recall having one solid stool in that period of time. So I get up in the morning and I have my first meal. I have the oats, and I have with that I'll have pea protein, and then the next meals will have chickpeas. I was trying to work out exactly how much protein I would get from all those plants, and I found I was having to eat a ton of it to meet my protein needs. So I kept eating like that for a while. But I tell you what happened. My skin got terrible. I started having bad skin. I started spots that I'd never had before. I started having digestive problems. I would get up in the morning and like I said, I'd be going to the toilet all loose. And then all throughout the day, I felt bloated. Every time I ate, I felt bloated. And I just thought it was normal, because that's how, if you're plant-based, you're supposed to be. For us, when I was eating the meat and the eggs, I used to get bloated sometimes, but not that often. But this is like constant. I had a constant stomach ache. I was functioning all right. But one thing I noticed that I didn't like at all was that my strength drastically went down. When I went down to the gym, I was training, I found that I was flaking out a lot quicker. It felt like my body was not recovering properly. And the other thing is my DOMS took a lot longer to repair. When I finished training, I've been pain for a lot longer than I used to when I was eating meat and eggs. To me, I just thought that even my mental health was affected. Even the way I thought was different. Now I was struggling. Things were getting to me that would normally not get to me. I found myself sort of, I used to suffer from anxiety. My anxiety got worse. I felt depressed. And I didn't understand that a diet, a way of eating. It took about 2 weeks to get all these things that were wrong with me. I didn't understand how a way of eating that everybody was preaching about it, what the documentary was going on about how great it was, that would affect me that way. So after about 4 weeks, I thought, nah, I can't do this. So I changed my diet. I started putting in, the eggs and the meat, lots of red meat. Actually went the complete opposite. I wasn't complete carnivore, but I reduced my plant intake drastically at that time. I was still having whey protein and stuff, but then I was eating carbs. But I changed all of that, and I started feeling good again. I started feeling my strength came back, my skin conditions improved. My digestive problems disappeared. I just felt a lot stronger in the gym. I believe that we are supposed to eat, you know, animal protein, and the protein in plants it's not really good for us. It's not for us. We got other animals that have got digestive systems that can break down the plants into proper protein for them to absorb. We don't have that ability. Our digestive system is used to getting its protein from animals. That's what I believe, and I proved that by changing my diet to plant-based. So I'm not saying that it cannot be plant-based, but I'm talking about my experience. And subsequently, most of my clients who came to me, they said to me, Eddie, I'm plant-based. I always convince them. I managed to find a way to convince them to change their diets. And when they change their diet, they start feeling good again. In fact, one lady lost about 50 kg over the years. And when she first came to me, she says, Eddie, I have not eaten any animals or eggs. Vegan. She had been vegan for, for 13 years. And within 2 months, she changed her diet. Different person. Personality was changing. The mom was saying that she's a different person. She got more energy, felt better mentally, skin is improved a lot. So like I said, I'm not asking you not to be plant-based. If you want to be plant-based, that's your choice. But I'm talking from my experience and from the experience of the clients that I've worked with in the past. I don't believe that we're supposed to be eating as many plants as we as human beings, because we've done that. We've just been brainwashed for years to think we need to eat a lot of plants, and we need plants are good for the digestive system. We need that gut bacteria needs a lot of plant. I used to say the same thing to my clients. We need to get vegetables in, get the cruciferous vegetables in. Yes, you can, but I don't believe they are as necessary. But even if you're eating the cruciferous vegetables, make sure you've got eggs and some kind of meat. Even if it's fish, it's better for you. I think our digestive system can break that down and use as protein better than the plants. By the way, if you're sitting there thinking, hang on, this old African guy with a grey beard is actually making some sense. If only I could ask him questions every week and get him to sort me out. Well, I've already built that for you. It's called Abu Crew, my private community. And at the time I'm recording this, we got over 10,000 members from all over the world inside. Some of them joined just to hear me shout at them in Zoom calls, and apparently they like it. Everyone in there is using this same hormone first approach to lose fat, feel better, and actually feel like themselves again. No calorie counting, no gym membership required, and no special low-fat cereal bars or whatever these idiots sell. Inside, you'll get the full 90-day roadmap, my insulin-friendly grocery guide, meal plans tailored to you, recipe videos from my daughter and my wife, who, by the way, are Michelin level compared to me boiling eggs, and a weekly live Q&A call with me, where I answer real questions and don't hold back. It's a one-time fee, no upsells, no fluff, just the straight-up truth, support, and plan you've been looking for. I built this because I'm in my 60s now, and I've had enough of the industry selling people confusion while they make billions. So if you're ready to take the next step, just scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description. So I don't eat plants anymore. If you follow me, you know that my diet's complete carnivore, and I'm 6 years old, and I feel the best that I've ever felt. In fact, my mental state is better than it was when I was in my 30s. My energy level is better than it was when I was in my 30s. I feel amazing. My skin is a lot better since I changed my diet to complete carnivore. You don't have to be a complete carnivore. You can actually change your diet to the ketogenic diet, but please make sure that you're getting all your protein from an animal source, either eggs or chicken or eggs, poultry, red meat, all of that, fish. Get your protein from an animal source, because that's where we're supposed to get our protein from, not the plants. That's why the plant protein is not that bioavailable to us. Obviously, if you're using plant for you as your protein source and it's working for you, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that, is it possible that you can actually improve your performance or you can improve your health by changing from the plant-based? Because I know so many people over the years that I've worked with, that I've trained, that I've prepped, that I've been a coach to, who've changed their protein source from predominantly plant-based to animal-based and felt amazing. It's changed their lives. And most of them say to me, Eddie, it's not just my physical health, but my mental health has improved as well by changing my, my protein sources from plant to animal. So it's your choice, but I'm telling you that if it was left to me, I'd say go for the animal protein. It's much better for you. My diet's complete carnivore. A lot of people say, oh no, you don't get the nutrients from, that you get in plants and vegetables. Listen, vegetables may have nutrients, but they've also got anti-nutrients in them. You've heard of lectins and stuff like that in a lot of these plants that we eat. And I feel the best I've ever felt not eating vegetables. And I'm not saying don't eat vegetables before you start screaming and saying, Eddie says don't eat vegetables. But for me, for my health, I think that it's better. I feel better not eating vegetables. So I took them out. So you plant-based people, all I can tell you is this, don't follow something blindly. You might have some, moral reasons for not eating animals, but I believe that's our food. That's what we're supposed to eat as human beings. So whatever, I'm not going to let my moral, argument get in the way of what I'm supposed to eat as human beings. You may say, oh, we're not supposed to eat animals, but go in the wild to see other animals eating other animals. We don't stop there. If you've reached the end of this video, it means you're serious about your health and fitness. If you didn't know, I've got a private community where I do live coaching, in-depth video modules, and other resources. Click the link in the description to check it out and join thousands of others who've benefited. See you there.